Hello there, this is Alex Cook back with my review series. Today we'll be looking at part 4 of my book to film adaptations, the book Middle School, The Worst Years of My Life by James Patterson. This book is amazing. It is a visual novel, and I call it that because it's a novel with visual elements, but not exactly a graphic novel. And the book itself deals with all kinds of really adult issues not typically addressed in a lot of young adult media. Maybe more so now, but not when the book was first published. It deals with civil disobedience, not always to trust authority, alternative education styles, and loss of a sibling, which is not always something addressed in children's and young adult media. Sure, we have Disney killing off parents left and right, but not always siblings. The movie, however, is awful. Not just awful as an adaptation, which it is, but awful in general. It's a boring, lame story that we've seen a billion times, done with 2017 tropes, and done with tons of kid movie tropes as well. The only redeeming feature is, one, the teacher's hot, and two, that the film does kind of keep the book's original message of civil disobedience. And there is one really cool scene where they're dancing around in paint. So the book, first off, in the book, Rafe lives with his mom and his sister Georgie, and they are poor, like incredibly poor. They're not homeless, but the home they live in is essentially just a box. Rafe even comments, and there's a drawing of his room, how there's like no furniture in the room. In the movie, they're living in an upper middle class home, which has like a ton of rooms, 2 floors. The mom is a sous chef, and they have iPhones, all of them. This is, worst of all, awful because it's an erasure of poverty. And there was another form of media that did this recently. I cannot remember what it was, but this erasure of poverty is disgusting because it makes children think like you can't ever be poor or there's something wrong with being poor. Like they emphasize all the time, like Rafe's mom works at a diner, like just as a waitress, making barely minimum wage, and they explain that in detail. But they never say it's a bad thing. They actually show some of the advantages of it. Like, Rafi's an artist, so the owner of the diner loves to put up his artwork. And it really just sucks that they erase this. And then see the whole plot line is that Rafi is going to break every rule in the book because he finds all the rules at the school are lame and boring and dumb. So in order to try and change them and to make his life better, he wants to break them because rules aren't for everyone, which is what his motto is and the name of the operation. So along with him is also his quote-unquote friend, Leo. And this is where the sibling loss comes in, because Leo is actually his, I'll call it projection, not like projection like in a scientific way, but like mental projection of his brother, that he talks to like an imaginary friend, because his brother died when they were little. Um, and it's naturally never specified what kills him, and I kind of like that because it's not creating that, like, I mean, obviously, like in the movie they specify it's cancer, and they're also not twins, which isn't too blatant, but it's also a difference. But they specify it's cancer, which is just falling into the tropes of boring and lazy writing. They could have made it meningococcal meningitis. They could have made it any number of diseases that can kill kids, because they could have also tied in an anti-vaxxing thing, like something about Rafa got vaccinated but his brother never did, because, or something, and it would have been a great message to why to vaccinate your children. And then there's also Rafa's mother's boyfriend, who is extremely emotionally abusive to her and her family. And in the book, it escalates into physical violence, and we don't actually see what he looks like until that moment, because he calls him Bear and draws him as a bear. It's never really explained why, but it's kind of funny. Um, And so but in the movie, he's like, yeah, he's still emotionally abusive, but he's never physically abusive, and it really doesn't go as far as like it could have or it did in the book. And there's also Rafe is an artist, like draws everywhere and everything. And in the book, this lends to him finding an alternative school for artists, which then sets up the sequel book, which is also very good. Um, and because of this, um, sorry, lost my train of thought. And because of this, it's showing that sometimes alternative methods of education are needed. Some kids cannot handle a traditional school environment, so they need to go to an art school where they can learn better. But in the movie, this is not at all mentioned. Rafe just stays in the school, and they have some half-assed message about standardized testing, which isn't even done very well, which is, again, something that could have been done very well due to the current pressure of standardized testing on our society. So I'm really disappointed in this movie, and I remember seeing the trailers and thinking all of this. And the one thing I really commented to myself was, how come we can have children's media like Steven Universe and Gravity Falls that deal with family issues, and Steven Universe deals with gender identity issues, and it does it so well. And then we have books like this one that deal with civil disobedience and poverty and all these fun things. And then the movie adaptation just gets turned into let's break rules. Like, I don't understand why Hollywood thinks that children can't handle really adult messages, because this is supposed to be a young adult novel. So rather than treat them like kids who will laugh at fart jokes, why not treat them like the young adults they're trying to grow up into? That's my review. Read the book. Don't watch the movie. Have a good day.